Hi guys, welcome to yet another episode of Jive. I being Jive. Today I'm joined again with my brother Malcom to further discuss Guka. In this episode, he's going to talk to us about the effects of Guka on the person and the community. Malcolm.
The use of Guka is rapidly escalating, and it is something that we cannot continue to keep quiet about. BUKA GUKA, Guka nderekushaya. The prolonged use of meth has severe effects. Kushandiswa kweguka mutoriro odombo kune ma-effects akawanda on us. Some of the effects are psychological, mamwe acho ari physical, mamwe ma-effects anowanikwa pa-community. Also tichitaura these malab kwavanogadzira guka mutoriro o mabackyard kwavarikugadzira mutoriro. Our previous episode takataura tikati it consists of toxic substances, ammonia, battery acid and pesticides. So these chemicals are highly flammable, they are corrosive, and also if in contact with the skin or if you breathe them in, it might result in negative effects. So we said CRYSTAL METH Guka, it's a highly addictive stimulant. It's addictive, right? Yekuti once you hit it, you are bound to keep on wanting more, right? That's a very dangerous effect. More so, psychological effects. Lopatukwana ana paranoia, depression, anxiety, hallucination, suicidal thoughts, and so paranoia progress. It starts off as mild to say pane zvinhu zvauri kuona, pane zvinhu zvauri kufungira, but later on as you continue to take CRYSTAL METH, it progresses, it develops to another stage whereby you are now hearing voices. Wakunzwa ma voices paipa patiri kunzwa vanhu vachiti anze ndakatsomwa, and others call that moment as enlightenment. But you really wonder what is there to say enlightenment. But I'm not judging, I'm trying to understand them too in a bid to help them. Later on, from kunzwa ma voices, apasina distinction to say kuti munhu yaanopenga here kana kuti haapenge, and vapinda level raya ratakuchiti paranoid schizophrenics, whereby you hardly can't tell kuti paari kupenga ndepapi, paasiri kupenga ndepapi, due to the influence yeguka. More so true kuti they are psychotic symptoms that takes place during the extended period yauri kutora mutoriro. Let's say you started off uchitora kuti makuseni nemanheru, but now you're doing it as a marathon, kuti wakuchiti watora apa neapa apa neapa zvichienda zvakadaro. And trukuti during these moments yawaramba uchitora kwakuita kuti wakushaya kuhope, sleep deprivation, and in so doing my psychotic behaviors aku resulta as an effect yekushaya sleep. More so, some other people vekuchi they had a long time very high, and when you go down or withdrawal effects wakuita sober up, unogona kusuffer flashbacks, delusional flashbacks, whereby you are suffering the effects while you were under the influence. Zvinhu zvese zvaita kunge zviri normal, zvaita kunge zviri okay, but now that you are sobering up, things are starting to shape up. You are now facing reality, right? So there's also this issue of paranoia and irritability. All these goes on the mind, and while it goes on the mind, it then reflects on a person, whereby the person is now violent. akuita go towards domestic abuse, negligence of children if he or she has family. And so these are the effects that are there CRYSTAL METH, Guka MAKAFELA, Mutoriro, Dombo BUWE. And but also looking on, for someone who has been a meth user for a prolonged time, and in his first 4 to 6 months while he is trying to sober up, he suffers what's called inability to pleasure, whereby inability to pleasure, nothing at all gives that person satisfaction, nothing gives that person hope to say there is a tomorrow, there is a today, there are things that are supposed to be done today. And so in so doing, this inability to pleasure is one of the major reasons why those who have been taking Guka, when they try to sober up, they end up relapsing, because they have no reason to say, I can't live my life for this particular moment feeling like this, therefore I must go back to taking Guka, to taking Mutoriro. But all we are saying right now is, for the government, for the civil society, for the business community, please help the youth, please help the community. In so doing, let there be established facilities, rehab facilities to cater for these people, affordable for everyone. Mainly the ghetto youths. Afford this. It's expensive. You hear my prices of my rehab facilities, they go as much as $1,000 US, $2,000 US per month. Some households can hardly raise $1,000 per whole year. And so we have a generation to lose. My ghetto youths, they're getting wasted away. And we also look at meth, CRYSTAL METH, Mutoriro, Dombo, Guka, the effects it has on the brain. While you're taking Mutoriro, there are parts on the brain that develops tolerance. While these parts of the brain develops tolerance, you will end up wanting more. You will end up upgrading. You used to take a gram. Now you upgrade to 2 grams, 3 grams. That's how it works. There are also changes on the brain. These changes on the brain, they affect the way people feel, the way people think, the way people behave. See, you remember in our previous episode saying it's a addictive stimulant. It's potent and highly addictive stimulant. It acts upon the mind. It affects the way we feel, we think, we behave. Over time, that's where you can no longer tell, is the person suffering from schizophrenia? But this schizophrenia is due to Guka. You see, we continue saying BUKA GUKA, Guka DIREKUSHAYA. These effects are very worrisome, and they will take a toll, an effect on the community, on us as individuals, on us as a country. But despite these damages that CRYSTAL METH, that Mutoriro does to our brains, the good news is, at least in some respects, some parts of our brains that have been affected by smoking or injecting CRYSTAL METH can recover. But this recovery only takes time. This is provided you are in an environment with conducive conditions to recover, whereby there are rehab facilities, there are qualified professionals to take care of the addicts, counselors, therapists to help these people get through this moment. More so, during meth use levels, nguva dzekuti uri kutora mutoriro zvakanyanya, there are key brain chemicals that are elevated. My brain chemicals are, we have what's called dopamine. And also we have what's called serotonin. We said we have dopamine and we have serotonin. So dopamine is primarily the pleasure chemical that plays a vital role in memory, judgment, and emotions. Saka tiri kuti dopamine is responsible for memory, judgment, and emotions. Memory, to say you remember stuff that has gone through your life. Emotions, you feel pain, you feel anger. That's where this chemical acts. But in so doing, you could kutora guka in large amounts. Kutora guka frequently. There are now cases that these things no longer function normally. We move on to serotonin. It plays a vital role in sleep. It plays a vital role in appetite, sexual behavior, and aggression. We have had cases kwatinogara all across the country uchinzwa kuti ukarova guka haurari, unonga wakatsonwa, unopedza much time uri awake. This is because the chemical called serotonin affectwa, right? Then appetite. There is appetite suppression, where in the end you will suffer malnutrition because you are not eating. The body is not getting its required nutrients. Sexual behavior. It's where either you now sleep around, I believe so. Maybe you are now, there's now erectile dysfunction and other issues surrounding this area. And also aggression. You now tend to be violent. You now think everything that goes wrong needs to be resolved through violence. In so doing, the more one smokes meth, one smokes mutoriro, one smokes guka, there is damage to the nerve cells that produces these chemicals. In so doing, over time, these chemicals get depleted. So there is no normal function of a human being. We also look at meth-induced euphoria, psychosis, appetite suppression, and increased energy are all caused by the changes in the nerve cells that produces dopamine and serotonin. Meth reduces mental flexibility. There is no longer that mental flexibility. If you are still in school, you cannot keep up with your grades. If you are at work, you are no longer that efficient. Your mental state is no longer that flexible. And we also looked at the after use. Let's say you have been smoking meth for some time and you finally made up your mind to say, I no longer want to smoke meth. We say the parts of the brain that control memory, judgment, impulse control, and mood are damaged. In so doing, there is more that needs to be done in these areas. It also shows extensive memory problems and the difficulties in making good judgments. This is the area that we are saying, someone help us, the government help us. In so doing, let there be established recovery facilities to take care of these people's needs, the addicts, their patients. They need our help. Addiction is a disease. Drug use disorders is a disease. It needs us to cater for them. It needs us collectively, regardless of where do you come from. Let's come together. Let's help each other. We also looked at physical effects. Physical effects, some of the effects, you have seen it over the television, right? Some of them, you have seen them. So some of my effects anosafwa nevanhu vari kutora guka vanosafa inonzi cardiovascular problems. Atiri kuti macardiovascular problems include increased heart rate, blood pressure, irregular heartbeat. These are effects that we cannot continue to feel over and over as we take Guka, as we take Mutoriro. They take a toll on our health that over a period of time, you might suffer strokes and so on. So, by taking Guka, you're exposing yourselves to cardiovascular problems. Atataura tikati, increased heart rate, blood pressure, that's BP, then irregular heartbeat, whereas your heart beats either too fast or it beats too slow. Looking at CRYSTAL METH, we mentioned in our previous episodes that some people smoke it, right? So through smoking, it leads to pulmonary hypertension or a fluid accumulation, whereby within the bloodstreams, within our lungs, there is damage being caused there, right? There is also chronic obstructive pulmonary disease and other lung diseases. You also expose yourself to cancers, various cancers, starting from the lips down to our stomachs. So this is something that we must take note of and understand what we are doing. The moment you sit around with your friends, with your peers, and they tell you, let's smoke this, my advice to you right now is, kana wakangwara, sumuka utize, usagare pap. Do something better, right? Yes, we say we are making choices, but for someone who is a drug addict, someone who's taking drugs, it's not a choice. As for me, living healthily is a choice. You can say no, it's a choice. But once you are hooked to drugs, you are a slave to these drugs. You keep wanting more. It controls you. You neglect important parts of your life. Saka tiri kuti pawaona vari kuita zvemadrugs, tiza, siyana nezvemadrugs. Buka guka, guka nderekushaya. We also move to acute meth intoxication or overdose. This can lead to severe hyperthermia. By hyperthermia, we're saying there is elevated body temperatures. I have heard some people saying, guka harowe masikati. Because kana ukarowa masikati zvaunoona ipapo zviro zvisina kumera mushe. So we're saying it increases body temperatures. It also causes convulsions, renal failures, strokes, heart attacks. So we mentioned you'll be suffering from irregular heartbeat, high blood pressure, increased heart rate. So every time pauri kusmoka pama short-term effects, ndopatiri kuti there is increased heart rate, blood pressure, irregular heartbeat. The more you feel these things, you're exposing yourselves to strokes, to heart attacks, because your body cannot continue to feel these effects more oftenly. We also look at some people who are injecting crystal meth in their bodies. Injecting mutoriro in our bodies is more dangerous. Note this, I said it's more dangerous. In most cases, mutoriro is made in non-sterile conditions. There are zero hygiene in place, zero hygienic measures in place in so doing. So many impurities dzinongo dziri muCrystal meth, dziri mutoriro, dziri muguka dziya, it easily gets into your body, straight into the bloodstream, and trukuti wa-injector on your arm, it has bypassed the defense mechanism yebody yako, yangonanga direct into the system without being filtered. We all know if you eat something, our body has this special skill to filter what's required by the body and what's to empty outside our bodies. So by so doing, we're saying qui-injector, it's more dangerous. And more so, there is it leads to infection of the heart, or what's called hepatitis C. More so, looking at injecting crystal meth, Guka Mutoriro in our bodies, there is severe infections pasite pauri kubaya pacho. You see, over time, the skin around where uri kubaya, there is a thick layer of a skin. My dead cells within the skin are drying up. This is due to constriction yema blood vessels yakuitika underneath the skin. And saka tiri kuti over time ukazoenda kuchipatara ukanzi warwara, ndopaunosvika kuchipatara ukunzwa manesi ari kuti madoctors hatisi kuwana tsinga, because you have been doing this over and over to the extent that I'm a one. That's all I can say. Anonga I'm a one. So right now, usati watora mutoriro, usati wafunga kutora mutoriro, wherever you are, whenever you listen to this, please just know kuti there's nothing cool about mutoriro. Healthy living is actually cool. You can actually take care of yourself. Yes, we have problems, but let's talk to someone. Let's find something. Let's be productive. We have skills. And also, looking at the issue of the physical appearance that happens on our bodies as a result of taking Guka. Trukuti, you end up vigorously scratching. Ukuona munhu arongo kwenya kwenya. You see, pai kukwenya kwenya pai peuri kunzwa mudhara ndiri kuona masvosva anenge ari kundifamba. In English they call it the meth bugs. You see, you are now hallucinating. You are seeing things that are not there. In so doing, this vigorous scratching, if you frequently continue to do it, you are causing damage to your skin. You see, in so doing, you end up taking a sharp object or whatever to say ndaita for long, ndichingofamba nezvinhu. It's time to take it off my body. You might end up hurting yourself, or worse, that can happen because you check tsinga and you might bleed out. This will be very unfortunate. So we are saying, good team, let's not take Guka. Buka Guka, Guka nderekusha. And in so doing, we are people taking meth, people who are taking Guka are developing what's called meth mouth. By meth mouth, the truku explainer kuti the more you take Guka, there is a rapid decay of teeth. Kwandogara, it's very sad. You see some people here and there, and the way they are losing their tooth is very saddening. It's something worrisome. So, trukuti meth mouth is a result of rapid teeth decay. Is trukuti my gums, there's no longer that saliva production within our mouths. Therefore, we're saying Guka is acidic. By it being acidic, it restricts production of saliva. Kugadzirwa kwemate kwakushoma. Ndopa uri kufamba uri kunzwa ana boys arushidzira kuti ndakarohwa nedry mouth. You see, so in this regard, you suffer decay of teeth, you suffer gum diseases, because there's no longer that saliva production. And in so doing, there is poor dental hygiene, because most of the time if I get the fix, so there's no actual time to say you take a toothbrush, you clean your teeth. You see, so these are all results of meth. Also, going forward, we say there's a lack of hygiene. You no longer care about yourself. Either you look scruffy or you really don't care. Or you care about getting the next fix. There's also malnutrition as a result of poor diet. You no longer eat. There's suppression of the appetite as a result of taking meth. Kana wanga wakambosimba, you now get to be thin because the dopamine, the serotonin yatataura nezvayo irresponsible for these actions, you no longer can't do to say now ndane nzara, now ndakufana kudya. So this is very sad. And also in pregnant women, we are saying if there's a pregnant woman taking CRYSTAL METH, taking mutoriro, there is premature birth of the fetus, of the child. There is also growth problems and developmental disorders. Tiri kuti mwana mai vane pamuviri vakanzi vari kutora mutoriro, mwana wavo vachazvara achaita ma-developmental problems, ma-growth problems, ichaita premature birth. This is as a result kuti the more she smokes, there is lack of oxygen getting to the fetus. So in so doing, the quality of the next generation is affected. You see, this is only not affecting us. The choices we are making today has to affect us chet. Remember someone who is to come 5 years after you are gone. You see, so let us not be selfish for once. The more we get addicted to these drugs, our ego grows. We are selfish. All we think about is ourselves and our drugs. So, iwewe usati watora madrugs, do you really want to live like this? Uda kuva here a slave to these drugs? Take a moment. Really think hard pamusoro peupenyu wako. Really think hard to say, I need to make my mother proud. I need to make my father proud. I need to make my community proud. Yes, there's a small token of appreciation or whatever, but doing something good is the best feeling for yourself. The main idea for this podcast for us is to make the information available. Get informed. Educate the local community. We go on to look at the community effects of ana Guka, of ana mutoriro, of ana dombo, ana BUWE, right? So trukuti, the effects haango affect iwe pachezvako, as in psychologically and physically. They also affect the community. So we are saying the detrimental consequences of meth abuse and dependence extend beyond the individual user to his family, to the community, to the social service system as a whole. And because Trukuti, once you take mutoriro, you are the breadwinner of the family. You now neglect the family. You now neglect the wife. We are seeing high number of divorce cases as a result that one has become a meth head, and therefore your wife might go against the idea of you taking mutoriro, and the marriage ends up splitting. The children suffers. So one person's poor decision is affecting 4-5 people and the community at large. As we mentioned earlier and in the previous episodes, we said the ingredients used in meth production, they are highly toxic. Takati mune ammonia, mune ma pesticides, mune ma battery acids, to mention a few, but there are many other substances. These substances, they are toxic, they are corrosive, and they are flammable. So zvatati ari toxic, ari flammable, ari corrosive. In this regard, tiri they cause a harm on the environment. You see, it's not kuti the effects of guka from smoking to production. There is also effects on the environment. We are saying now the production of crystal meth is now affecting even the environment. You see, because that are toxic, are corrosive, are flammable, the way they are going to dispose these waste, they are poor. At most, they will expose them in their backyards, my storm drains, my roadsides, my undesignated dump sites. In so doing, some people might go through the trash, the garbage. In so doing, get exposed to these things. So it also affects the community. There's this statistics that say for every pound of meth manufactured, about 6 pounds of toxic waste is created and often deposited in backyards, storm drains, and roadsides. So we are causing also land degradation. And I want to make a challenge to say, let's say my energy saver edukana atra, we dispose them, right? To say we try to minimize this whole enabling smoker mutoriro to say they use these bulbs. It might not be feasible, but we can at least try. Then also there's explosions and fires. They can occur at these lab sites, whereby these lab sites are either situated in the backyards, within their homes, within their garages. So chemicals that are they are flammable. They might result in fires that might end up destroying human life and property. More so, there are toxic gases that are produced within these sites. They also cause poisoning. They also cause burns. They also cause lung irritation, organ damage, and cancers. Those who are at a greater risk, residents are the children, because in most cases they're still young and they're exposed to these certain lifestyles. They grow up emulating, thinking it's the right thing to do. The way we were raised up later on reflects on the way we become adults, so as to say. So for some, ukakura environment yekuti kurugadzirwa madrugs, kuruputwa madrugs, it becomes normal. It becomes a norm. So let's take an action. Let's come together, the community, the government, everyone with humanity at heart. This is an epidemic that is taking over. We cannot continue to stay quiet. We will continue here and there to talk about these issues till someone listens. The whole idea is to educate. Buka guka, guka nderekushaya. For more, we'll continue putting visual aids on our social medias so you can refer to, so you can learn. We look forward for our next episodes. We believe in the future, if possible, we might invite someone to share his story on what is it to take Guka. Thank you all for listening, and God bless you.
Thank you, Malcolm, for a wonderful session. As usual, you have given us more information on Guka and its effect. As he has said, on our next episodes, we hopefully will find willing people to come forward for my interview, so that one person are not explain their relation with this serious drug irikukwadza my youth. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to mask up, sanitize, social distance, and get the vaccine. Thank you.